My grandfather came up here with a partner from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they began with a trout farm back in 1926. They did that for 2 years and found that it wasn't profitable. And fortunately for my grandfather, he had a friend who was with Woolworth, and he got word that they had a product in their store that brought people in off the streets, and it was goldfish. They wanted to put the goldfish in the back. The pet department would end up in the back of the store, and everybody would have to come through, and there'd be all sorts of impulse buying. There wasn't a producer in the United States that could produce goldfish on a year-round basis. And so his friend with Woolworth challenged him to switch over and raise goldfish. They did it in a heartbeat, and we've been doing it for 96 years. My first memory of Ozark Fisheries would be coming up to the farm for either 2 or 3 weeks in the summertime. My parents wanted me away from the girls, my sisters, and I spent time with my grandparents up here. I would hang out with my grandfather. We'd drive around and look at projects and review how things were being done down at the shipping room. And I'd spend a lot of time out on the pond.
Growing up on the farm, I remember vividly, doing chores and going on projects with my father, helping him with whatever it might have been, with maintenance, running errands, picking up parts.
I grew up here on the farm, our Missouri farm, and I remember going with my dad and my grandfather out on the ponds. My family started in 1926. I'm a 4th generation fish farm, and we started here at this location because of the water. So we're here because of the springs. And then in the 1970s, my family bought our biggest competitor in Indiana, which was Grassy Fork Fisheries. Grassy Fork is one of the oldest privately owned fish farms in America. It started in 1899, and that farm at that time was our biggest competitor, and then we transitioned over, and they were both run and operated as Ozark Fisheries. Back in 2011, my brother moved over there and took over Grassy Fork.
First job on the farm was doing yard work up at my grandparents' house, and I got paid 25 cents an hour.
My first job working on the farm was mowing yards. If I remember correctly, I started when I was about 8 or 9, mowing our house, mowing the office.
My first job on the farm was actually running crawdad traps. So I was in charge of crawdads, are something you have to actually have a trap for, and we go out and we set traps with bait, and then you go back and retrieve the crawdads. And so it's something that I got paid like a couple cents a crawdad, and I would run all these traps, and that would be what I would do in the afternoons after school. And then I transitioned to working in the summertime down in our shipping room.
My first fish farmer job was during college when I came here, and I lived by myself at my grandparents' house. It was after my grandparents had passed on, and I came here to see whether this was really something I wanted to do. And I spent a whole summer here, spent a whole summer down in Alabama, and a whole summer over in Indiana.
The fish farmer title, in 2011, I left school and came over to our Martinsville facility, where I basically started full-time on the farm after finishing college.
So I always knew I wanted to work with animals. I really love animals growing up. I always thought that would be a vet, and I always thought that maybe I would have a role on the farm. I went to college, and my degree was in fisheries and wildlife, but after going to college and coming back and spending a little bit of time away actually puts it all in perspective of when I spent some time in some cities. I knew I didn't want to live in the city full time. I knew I wanted to live in the country, and I knew I still had that love for animals, and luckily I was able to grow up in an environment that fostered that.
My family moved here in 1970. My dad was a production manager in 1977. In high school growing up, I was a huge sports nut, loved sports, thought I wanted to get into coaching. Started here my freshman year of high school, working in the summers, and immediately fell in love with this job. I knew at that time that this is what I wanted to do. I worked under my dad for about 25 years, so I had a lot of practice, and it's just been great ever since.
We've got employees here that have been part of the family for a long, long time. You know, knowing that they're dependent on the business for their livelihood, you know, makes it a big responsibility.
Working for a family farm like this has been a really unique experience that most people don't get to do in a job. I've worked with people here that have been here 40, 50 years, and their kids and their fathers, uncles, aunts, and my father worked here 40 years, my wife worked here 10 years, I've been here 37 years. It's just been an awesome, you've got a work family that's just like your family.
My first memories of Ozark Fisheries are as a kid, because my dad actually built the hatchery and the tanks inside, and so I was around the ponds and coming to work with him when I was little, so I have some pretty older memories of fisheries. I've worked for a whole lot of corporations, and they care about the bottom dollar, and I feel like Ozark is a family, and I feel like I'm part of that family, and that means more to me than making what I would make in a corporate world.
My role at Ozark Fisheries, I'm the production manager. I'm over the overall production of fish, which starts from when the fish lay the eggs all the way to the fry stage, putting them out in the nursery ponds, and then their growth over the year, and then all the way to harvest, to when they're sold.
I mean, we're shipping live animals, and we have to rely on a whole lot of people, more than just ourselves, to get those fish places, and that's probably our biggest challenge, is making sure that those fish arrive the way that we guarantee they arrive, healthy and alive.
So my first job here at Ozark Fisheries was actually head babysitter. I babysat Joseph and Margaret Cleveland and their sister Meredith, and shortly after that I started working nights in our air freight packing crew and worked summers in our shipping department. My role here at Ozark Fisheries is the sales manager. I serve with a great group of ladies in our sales and marketing team. So when you're talking about technology and sales and shipping and how it's changed, when I first started in the office here, my only job, really my only priority, was actually printing out invoices and manually faxing them to customers. And we've come a long way from there. So when I first started, I didn't have my own PC. I didn't need one. I was busy at the fax machine all day, or the filing cabinet. But we just had a handful of PCs. We had local dial-up internet access, and we actually faxed orders to our Missouri shipping room or Indiana shipping room in order for them to process the orders. I would say maybe 5 years after I was here, I was a sales representative at that time, and we moved to a more robust version of our accounting system that allowed us to automatically email invoices to customers. We added a fiber optic line to connect our shipping department to the Missouri office, which allowed us to have internet access, and we could email orders to Indiana and Missouri now instead of faxing them. And flash forward to today, we have our own order processing system in place that our sales and shipping department both utilize, as well as production. But it gives us way more effective means of communicating orders, not only to our shipping department, but to our customers.
Farms are ever changing. A lot of things have changed, even since when I was a little girl to now, since I've been back for 4 or 5 years.
We've implemented a lot of technology on the farm since I started, which is about 12 years ago. So, and I try to stay out in front of that, knowing that this, in the world that we live in today, that we need the technology, or have to implement the technology to be able to survive.
We've really worked to get ourselves, have a really good website that our customers can order through our website, as opposed to having to take all orders over the phone. Being able to process those orders in a more efficient manner. So having technology and resources that we can use instead of paper, everything's on an iPad now. And so we're able to take the technology, especially technology that's being used in other different industries, and apply it to aquaculture and apply it to our situation. I feel like in farming, it's a little bit behind in adapting and wanting to learn, but my brother and I, the 4th generation, are really working to infuse some technology into the farm and wherever we can.
The biggest shift that's occurred over the last 10 years has been in favor of e-commerce. And I would say that Ozark Fisheries has been right in front as far as providing goldfish and koi and rosy red feeders to the market. And we've done it through our work with Amazon and with Shopify and eBay. The challenge to make that happen is the technology. And we've invested quite a bit of money in technology and in software programs that allow us to be able to handle all the volume of transactions that you got to have when you're doing business on a business-to-consumer basis.
Every week we're bringing new fish into our shipping room. So we have the fish, when the fish are ready in the ponds, we're gonna harvest them out of the ponds either by seining or draining that pond. And then we're going to bring those fish into our shipping room. Those fish are gonna be processed. Sometimes the waters are gonna have to be acclimated. So if they're on warm water in the pond, they have to be acclimated down to spring water. Then we're going to go through and do a health check on those fish, as well as a check on if a quality check to make sure that they're the right color and the right shape that we want. And then those fish are shipped out throughout the rest of the week.
Well, we've got excess land here. My grandfather in the early days bought a lot of land, and with that land he wanted to create an opportunity to basically control the watershed down into these bottoms where we have our ponds. And when he did that, he created land that was, you know, open and cleared, and he bought lots of neighboring farms. Here in Missouri, we've got 7,000 acres. And so just to be fish farming on 500 to 750 acres and not utilizing the other land, the decision was made back in the 50s to start running beef cattle and basically to get a return on the excess land. The idea of controlling the watershed, we found out later that really the springs that we've got here, we've got 6 large springs. They get their water recharged 50, 60 miles away from here. And so there was there was really not an opportunity to be able to control that amount of watershed. So it was sort of a fallacy in the early days.
We started this farm about 20 years ago. It was kind of known for its black baldies, its F1 baldies, and we kind of took it a little bit different direction, and we've gone to basically 100% black-hided cattle, no whites in the face at all, and we're pretty proud of them. We don't toot our horn a whole lot. We kind of let the cattle speak for themselves at the sales and everything, but this is probably one of the better commercial cattle operations in the state of Missouri. I mean, you have to classify it that way. Our cattle usually sell in the top 1% at the sales that we sell at. My role here at the farm is I pretty much try to take care of everything that involves the cattle operation on a day-to-day basis, whether that's working cattle, sorting cattle, moving cattle, all the fence work, identifying pastures that maybe need work done on them, implementing new ground that we're going to doze, clean up, pond work, just everything that is involved in a Missouri cattle operation. That's what I am in charge of. That's what I try to take care of. The Circle F Cattle Company originated from Ozark Fisheries. On the fish side was started first, and then roughly 30 years after the cattle company was started. And so they simply took the O from the Ozark Fisheries and just put it around the F to make the Circle F brand for Circle F Cattle Company. I try to stray away from the fish side. That's not my forte, but you'd be amazed at how, even though you think fish in a pond and cattle in a pasture, how closely those two are related. Because how good the fish are and how good the cattle are directly relates to how good the water quality is and how good the pasture quality is. So both of those are extremely correlated. Fish side is roughly 500 acres encompassing the farm in water. Most of it's fenced off. We can pasture it in rough drought years if we want to access the spring water and stuff, but most of the time we try to keep the cattle away from the fish, just simply for, whenever cattle walk on the pond dams and stuff, erosion on the dams, it's a little counterproductive. You can do more damage than you do good. We get to steal some fish guys for help every once in a while, and sometimes we try to help them. It may not be correlated quite so well because we don't know what we're doing, but we try if we can.
The biggest challenge for us right now is our succession planning, and with a 4th generation in place, we feel very good about it. I've got my son and one of my 2 daughters that are both involved in the business, one in Indiana and one in Missouri. The even bigger challenge is going to be the third generation staying out of the way of the fourth generation.